So here we are in the car again with slightly better lighting. And we're here because we have a problem. Actually, we have a lot of problems, but we have one really big problem, which is that when I originally had this goal of buying a van, what I wanted to do was pay for it all myself. And I estimated it would be about $1,000 a month, which I thought I could do if I was making about 2,500, which seemed realistic. I'm at about $2,000 a month right now, which is getting pretty close. But anyways, I kind of, having done more research now, have realized that the beginning stage of building the van, putting windows in, electricity, just like all the lumber, just everything to build it like high quality. I'm not talking about like slapping things together. Like to actually build something high quality is going to take a lot of money, and I have to do it like all this summer, because what's going to happen is that if I don't get the van ready to live in the winter, then I'm going to have to move back into my mom's house, which would be, I don't know, demoralizing, not just like emotionally or creatively, but it's just from a practical perspective, like we have different temperatures that we need the house at. Like she sets things freezing cold, and like, I don't know, I feel like I'm dying. I literally feel like I'm freezing to death in the house. And then in the summer, she puts the AC on, and then I'm also freezing to death in the summer. And just this is just a microcosm of everything. But anyways, so my mom also kind of realized this from me talking about this. And so she offered to give me a $15,000 loan so that I could bring the payments down, so that I'm not paying $1,000 a month, especially in the beginning. I'm paying more like 400 or 450 a month, which is much more manageable. And it also would give me money to invest in the build. The first year, I'm going to have to put a ton of money into the van to make it livable. And I was very reluctant at first because I wanted to do everything myself, but I was kind of realizing like, well, if I don't accept help, like I'm going to have to be stuck in this house, in my mom's house as a 33 and then 34-year-old, child man thing. And I didn't want that. However, the problem is that the first step in converting the van is putting windows into it. And I really wanted to do it myself, both to save money because it would take thousands of dollars more to have a custom glass shop put the windows in, and also because I just want to like learn it as a skill. I want to feel like I had a hand in every part of my van as I put it together, because I feel like that's important for me as like a human being, just to have a habitat that feels like I made it, or it was made for me, or both. However, my mom doesn't really understand this. She is not really a DIY person, especially for larger projects, and especially for things where she thinks that like an expert should do it. And I get that it's sort of a risky project, cutting windows into a van. Like if you mess up, it's a $40,000 van. However, I've watched a lot of conversion videos, and although it's risky, it is not that complicated. It takes work, it takes patience, it takes careful cutting with a jigsaw. But if you do it slowly, if you do it carefully, then the risk can be mitigated. And this is something we disagree on. And today it came to a head where she said that if I don't hire someone to do it instead of doing it myself, then she won't give me the loan. And like I said, it's not just about the money. And in fact, she said that she would pay for someone to do it. And I guess for anyone listening to this, they would think, like, what, are you fucking nuts? Like, you have someone who's going to give you $15,000, and they'll also give you more money to pay for this thing that you probably shouldn't do yourself. Well, I don't want to say probably, but, is risky to do yourself. And you're having second thoughts about that. Or, well, I never, it's not second thoughts because I never had first thoughts about it, but you're resistant to it or whatever. But I feel like this is the universe testing me, because it feels to me like a devil's bargain. Like the entire point of this project was to have this space of my own where no one was telling me what to do anymore, where I'm not trapped in someone else's space, someone else's house, someone else's rules. I don't have to ask permission to do things that I know that I can do. Um, and so it feels like it's not just about the windows, but if I accept this compromise, then I'm going to have to accept more compromises down the road. You know what I mean? It's sort of like the if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile type of thing. And I can just see this happening with my mom. And in fact, I know that it's going to happen because I told her that. I said, well, if I say yes to this, then it's going to be, something else down the road. It's going to be like, oh, you can't do the electrical yourself. You can't do the plumbing yourself. You can't do the woodworking yourself. And we went through those things one by one. And she's like, oh, yeah, well, that you shouldn't do yourself. Oh, this you shouldn't do yourself. And it's like, it feels like if I accept this money, then it's like a back door for my mom to like, I don't know, somehow like permeate into this space that was supposed to be mine, And I tried to explain this to her, and I've tried to explain lots of things to my mom, like this, for example, climbing trees. I free climb trees. I've been climbing trees since I was 4 years old, and every time my mom finds out that I've climbed a tree, it's just like she thinks that I'm like trying to commit suicide or something. Even though I'm extremely skilled, I'm extremely careful, I know how to climb trees, I've never fallen, I've never even slipped, I've never even broken a branch. It's like she just doesn't have the mental capacity or the risk tolerance to be able to comprehend or like visualize how it could be, how something can be made safer by competence, and by patience and by research. It's just like with her, everything is just like, if you don't know how to do something, then just like trust the nearest authority figure. And this is true for like so many other things, for health. Like, I don't know, she's never started a business. She's always worked in, like a 9 to 5 job, and which is like totally fine. But yeah, it's a problem for me because I'm not a 9 to 5 person in so many ways. And I have a very high risk tolerance, as you probably know from watching videos about me like running around on pavement barefoot. And I'm here, right? Like nothing has killed me. Nothing has come close to killing me. I've never had any serious accidents. I don't know, like I ride a bike without a helmet, and ever since I was old enough to make my own decision about that, like I've been riding a bike without a helmet. I've never been injured, never hit by a car. And it's one of those things where like the helmet feels like more of a hindrance and a distraction to me that would actually put me at risk. And this is like the general theme of the past 7 years or more of my life, is like I feel safe when I'm taking risks, when I'm doing dangerous things and trying new things, learning new things. And my mom feels safe when she's just like in her little like box of trusting authority figures and not doing anything too risky. And I've watched people with that mentality and they go nowhere in life, which like is fine. If that's what you want, if the most important thing to you is just being safe and not taking risks. But, you're never going to accomplish the things that you want to do in life if you don't take risks. And the bigger risks you take, the more you can accomplish. Like, for example, my mom has always wanted to be a National Geographic photographer, but I don't know, maybe she was too afraid, or she was kind of shackled by responsibilities, or whatever. I mean, whatever the excuse is, but she didn't do it. And you can feel that sense of like loss and frustration in her, kind of like beneath the surface. It's true for a lot of people. Like my dad, he started a woodworking business, and he never learned how to say no, how to estimate properly. And so he was just never able to make it. And he gave up, unfortunately. And he still does his own business on the side, which I'm grateful for, and I like seeing him do. But I'm trying to live the full dream, if you know what I mean. That's like the last car talk we had. That was one of the pinnacles of it is like, this is been the whole point of starting a YouTube channel, is to like to prove to people that this is possible, you know, like that you don't have to be crushed by the system. So I really don't know what to do. It's a very difficult question. You know, it's like, if I accept this money, which would move my dream along so much faster, you know, am I just going to end up stuck in the same situation where my mom is still trying to control my life and I have no, you know, sense of independence or whatever? And then on the other hand, like, if I have to save up that $15,000, and the other part of it is that it's not just the $15,000, it's like the co-signing. This is another thing that I didn't think about, is like, in order to get a loan, I probably have to co-sign with my mom. Like, the bank is not going to give me even if I have an income level sufficient to afford the payments, like, I haven't been making that amount of money for long enough to give them confidence that I would be able to continue making the payments, you know? Yeah, I don't know. Like, YouTubing to a banker, I'm sure sounds extremely risky, and I don't know. If I was a banker, I probably wouldn't give a YouTuber a loan either. But, so I don't know. I guess, I mean, the only solution I can think of is to like just do it all myself and try to save up $15,000 this summer, and like maybe get the van into some sort of serviceable state by like November. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna have to convert it in like the late fall, which is really it's really disappointing. But I don't know. I mean, I sort of have been thinking about like the story of my life and just like confidence in general. Like, how do I get myself back to this version of myself that I have been at times, where I feel super confident? And I don't know, maybe I can't build that confidence if I afford this symbol of independence that is paid for by someone else, you know? So it goes back to the whole universe testing me thing. Maybe that's the solution, you know? The whole goal for me is freedom. I don't want to feel like I'm trapped by someone else. But the really hard part about all of this is that, like, I don't know. I'm struggling in this. Like, I have to make a video like this, I have to go out into the garage after my mom's gone asleep, so that I don't get disrupted, and so that I don't feel um like sort of like I guess the best way to describe it would be like a microphone. Oh yeah, this is another thing. So after my camera broke, and um like, you guys were extremely generous in helping me like buy a replacement one. So like, please don't donate any money to this video, because like it was beyond my wildest expectations to go from feeling completely fucking depressed and like, I don't know, like I didn't want to live anymore, to having this at least one problem solved that could have derailed my entire life. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So after the camera broke, essentially what happened is like the mic jack died, and so I couldn't plug a mic into it anymore. And then as I was trying to fix it, I also broke the back screen. I mean, it was already screwed at that point. But anyways, literally like 3 days later, my frickin' mic broke. Fortunately, my microphone is not as expensive as the camera. It's only about $250. But I think it was like, if I didn't get that help from you guys, from my YouTube audience, I don't know what would have happened, because I've just like health problems, stress of living at home for so long and just struggling. And then I get so close to my goal, and then this like huge disaster happens. Like, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened, but I'm just thankful that it, that you guys were there to like help out. And it means a lot to me. But anyways, yeah, we took a huge detour here, but I'm gonna bring it around to a point. So the microphone, I had to get a replacement microphone, and I decided to go with a condenser microphone this time, um, because I was really interested. Condenser microphones, if you don't know, are very sensitive, much more so than like a shotgun microphone, which is what I had before. And I wanted a more sensitive mic because I wanted to get better at recording. And it's kind of like barefoot shoes, because when you have a more sensitive mic, you can hear all the little like problems that you have with the space. I mean, like, I'm sure the space sucks, but you can do things with mic placement and whatnot, and mic angling, and padding off things to make things sound better, which I've done with pillows and other stuff. But yeah, I feel like I am a condenser microphone. And so living at home like this, where some people would not have a problem with it because they don't really see what's around them. They're a lot better at like just kind of like linearly focusing on whatever, and they could just close the door to the room and it would be fine. But for me, I close the door to my room, and then I can sense like things outside of the room. It's like I don't even have the door closed. Like my mom's doing something in the kitchen. She's like moving plates around or something, and it feels like she's like right next to me. I'm just a super sensitive freaking condenser microphone. And so that's the difficulty. That's the problem that I keep coming back to for the past 7 years, is that like I'm stuck in this place where I'm a super sensitive condenser microphone, and there are all these distractions around me. And in order to get to the place where I have no distractions, like the van, I mean, it would literally be treated, for audio, but it would also be like emotionally treated, because it's a space like this where um I can just kind of like lock the doors and shut the entire rest of the world away and have like a controlled space where my microphone sounds good, where I'm not like overwhelming and like freaking clipping all the time emotionally because I'm too sensitive. So yeah, the challenge is like it's the catch 22. It's like, how do I get that thing without having that thing? And I can tell when I get into a space like this, I make better videos. I mean, today, and actually the past few days, maybe in the past few weeks, I've had a really hard time recording anything. Like I can't even put a sentence together. Um, and this video, I've just been able to like sit down and talk for, I think we're going on 23 minutes. I did restart one time because I started rambling in like the wrong direction, but I wasn't even able to ramble properly the past few days because I've just been clipping, emotionally. And I just don't know how to maintain a sense of isolation. I have no shielding around me like this car, but I can't record YouTube videos, or at least I can't do any work in this car. I can't bring my computer into this car because it's not my car, it's my mom's car. I go through so many ideas. Like, literally, you don't understand. I've been brainstorming for like 7 years, ways that I could have some kind of affordable housing, just even temporary, where I could just work and focus and get myself to the point where I could buy the van. But it's like everything is just yet another trap. It's like, if I live at my dad's house, I'm just gonna have the same problems of like not being able to focus because I'm living in someone else's house. If I buy an apartment, it's like $1,000 a month at bare minimum. Like if I just got a total like dump, and then plus utilities, and and then like there goes all of my savings. So like even if it makes me more creative, like that's a huge hurdle to get over. And I don't know. It's like just as difficult as living at home. And then I thought about like, well, maybe I could get into some kind of like artist, like low income artist housing. But to do that, you have to be like making some kind of community art. Like you have to be a mural painter, and then they expect you to like do things for the community. I don't like working with people. I don't know why. I'm not good at it. I'm good at making YouTube videos. I can like talk to people in comments. I can have like short conversations with people, but as far as going to a 9 to 5 job, or I don't know, doing some sort of community project where I need to like collaborate with people, forget it. I don't know what it is. I just I'm just like so ADD or rebellious or whatever that it doesn't work. It drives me crazy, and I end up driving other people crazy. I make so many mistakes, and I don't know. I can't focus in an office. I can't really understand other people's goals. I only understand my goals, I guess, creatively speaking, at least. You know, like I can understand other people's goals when they're working on their goals, but I have a very hard time like working on someone else's goals. I don't know. It just like doesn't work with my brain for whatever reason. I think it's probably because when I grew up, like my dad was the one that raised me, and he had like no discipline whatsoever. I just was able to do essentially whatever I wanted all the time, and his only rule was like don't burn the house down. So I'd be like writing on the walls and shit, and I don't think that you can change that about yourself when you grow up a certain way, when you have a certain structure to your brain. I don't think you can ever change that as you grow up. You can sort of like evolve it and find ways to like support that method of thinking, but yeah, it's not something you can change about yourself. And that's why I started a YouTube channel. It's why I got interested in van life, because it's the freedom. You know, you don't have anyone telling you what to do. I also oftentimes just think about like living in a small little teepee. I feel like that would be great. Honestly, like I don't even want the van. I would be totally down to just live in a teepee, and maybe own a motorcycle, you know, or something. But the problem with that is that like for zoning reasons, there's nowhere that you can live in a teepee because towns want you to live in large houses so that they can charge you a bunch of money in taxes, and they also don't want places turning into like a slum town, which you know I guess it's understandable, but still it's all like a giant scheme to like get people's money and force them in this like capitalist society to spend more money than they actually need to, so that they can be milked for financial profit. And then the other problem with living in a teepee would be that my parents, like I've said many times, are getting older. They have serious health problems. My dad, you know, is like, it could be within a year he won't be able to drive because his vision is going, you know. Um, and my mom is also having serious problems digesting things because she had her gallbladder removed like 10, 15 years ago or more. And yeah, she's just not getting enough nutrition, and you can just tell. And she's getting like weaker. She has a hard time going up and down the stairs. And so like I have to do that stuff, and I can't, you know, I can't leave. I also, I mean, I like my parents. I like hanging out with them. I just don't want to live with them, you know what I mean? So I can't leave, and I also don't want to leave. I just want my own space. I think it'll help a bit when it's finally summer because I'll be able to go out and like climb trees and do more of these talks and just have an easier time filming outside, and I don't know, more vitamin D, more warmth. But again, it's hard because to do work, I have to return to my desk, which is inside my mom's house, and it's cold and it's distracting. So I don't know. The strategy that I've adopted is just like to make these templated barefoot review videos, which I don't know. People seem to like. I think mostly because they're like helpful and they're concise, and that's mostly what people are looking for reviews. It's I mean, people appreciate when I do like funny things or creative things once in a while, but I think mostly with the reviews, it's like people just want the information. They want someone that's going to be honest and just like straight with them about the pros and the cons so that they can find something that they're looking for and not waste a bunch of time on BS marketing stuff. But another thing that definitely helps is Reiki. And I hadn't done that for like 2 weeks because oh yeah, this is another thing. I went on vacation with my mom to Cape May. I wasn't supposed to. She was supposed to go with a friend, but the friend couldn't go. And I basically, it's not okay. I'm not like complaining about going to the beach, but I have like joint pain issues. And like I've said, it's really hard being in a closed space with my mom. So it's not like really a vacation because I had to be in the car with her for 2 days and I'm like, just like aching, and then I had the whole camera thing going on. So I don't know. We got 3 nice days, and I was I was warmed up. Yeah, I can tell that I'm super tired because I'm, like, losing my train of thought now, even in this space, because I've just, like, been dealing with so much chronic stress, and it's just exhausting me. But anyways, where I was going with the whole vacation thing is that, I was gone for a week and a half, and, so I had to stop doing Reiki, but I have a Reiki session tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to. And my practitioner Courtney is like much more on my wavelength, just like the type of person who like will try things. I remember like a couple sessions in, I was feeling really good because I started taking eating seaweed again for the iodine. And so we were just talking about it, and she happened to have ordered some iodine like kelp tablets, and I was just telling her about how much I like just the whole food, like just soaking and boiling seaweed instead of taking it in the tablet form. She's just like, "Oh, that's really cool." And it's like, "Where do you get it?" And I'm like, "Oh, I get it from the Seaweed Man." And then sure enough, next session I come in and she's like tried it, you know? And this is something that I feel like I'm really missing from my life right now with everyone that's around me, is like people just won't like try anything. They won't even like, whether it's new ideas or foods or supplements or whatever, it's like people, they're just like stuck in their lanes. I don't know if you've experienced this lately, but it feels like people are getting more and more linear and just, I don't even, I don't know. It's like, if I talk to people, most people, I'll tell them about something, and then next time I see them, I'm like, "Oh, like, how did, so and so or this and that work out for you?" And like, "Oh, I didn't try it." And then you'll talk to them again, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't try it. I didn't try it." And I don't know, it's like I just want to be around people who are intentional with their lives and are like going somewhere and are willing to take risks and try stuff, which I guess is something I really appreciate about my YouTube audience, you guys, because every time I come out with a video, about a new shoe or I don't know, a health guide or something, I always get people in the comments who are like, "Oh, this sounds interesting. I'm going to try it." And then you hear back from them like a few days or a few weeks or a few months, sometimes even a few years later, and they have tried it. And sometimes people get great results, sometimes not. But like, why are we here on planet Earth if not to take risks, if not to go after the dreams that we have, and not just like compromising on the dreams and accomplishing some kind of like half life where we sort of get what we want, but not really, like just fully going for it. So I guess I'll end with this. There's an episode of The Office which I really like, which is all about negotiation. And so I think there's this problem between Toby and Angela, because Angela has this poster of babies in like diapers playing the saxophone, and she thinks it's really cute, and Oscar thinks it's really creepy, and it is really creepy. But Michael downloads like this huge booklet of like negotiation tactics from Wikipedia or something, and so he's testing them all out. And one of the things that he learns is that there are different scenarios in negotiation. There's like win-win, win-lose, lose-lose, and essentially compromise is lose-lose because neither person really gets what they want. And I feel like that's what's going on here.